Imagine this. You are finally on the brink of achieving your biggest dream. Everything seems to be falling into place. Your career is thriving, relationships blossoming, your well-being improving. And then, suddenly, something inexplicably shifts. A small decision goes wrong, a conflict erupts out of nowhere, or an opportunity slips through your fingers. This isn't just bad luck. It's a silent, almost invisible pattern that many people experience. Self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is one of the most puzzling human behaviors. It happens quietly, without much fanfare, and often at moments when success feels within grasp. Despite our best intentions and efforts, we sometimes unknowingly create problems that pull us back to a place of comfort, even if that comfort is pain, limitation, or mediocrity. This covert behavior can seem illogical or frustrating because it happens internally, beneath the surface of our conscious awareness. Gay Hendricks, a prominent psychologist and author of the best-selling book, The Big Leap, calls this phenomenon the upper limit problem. According to Hendricks, every person has an internal thermostat that regulates the amount of success, love, happiness, and well-being they feel safe experiencing. When life circumstances push beyond that self-imposed limit, this invisible system triggers a reaction that brings the person back down to a more familiar emotional state. But why would our minds work against us? Why would we reject progress and positive change when we most deserve them? To understand this, we need to dive deep into the psychological roots of the upper limit problem, which often originate in childhood. Early experiences, family dynamics, cultural beliefs, and societal messages all contribute to shaping this internal thermostat. During childhood, we absorb countless subtle and overt messages about what is acceptable regarding success and happiness. Phrases like, "Don't ask for too much," "Be humble," "Don't stand out," and "Money doesn't grow on trees" embed themselves in our subconscious minds. These lessons are not always explicitly stated, but are communicated through the way adults react to our achievements and desires. For instance, a child praised for good grades might quickly learn that too much praise causes jealousy or resentment among peers or family members. A youngster expressing ambition may face subtle discouragement or feel that standing out invites criticism or exclusion. Over time, these experiences create an emotional limit, a boundary that defines how much joy or success a person believes they deserve. This boundary is not static or fixed by external reality. It is an unconscious construct. It operates quietly but powerfully, setting the stage for self-sabotaging behaviors. When you push beyond this boundary, your mind perceives the positive change as a threat to your psychological equilibrium. To maintain balance, it activates defense mechanisms that can manifest in many forms: procrastination, conflict, sudden health problems, emotional crises, or irrational fears. The upper limit problem explains why so many individuals hit a ceiling in their personal or professional growth despite their potential and efforts. It is not merely bad luck or lack of skill. Instead, it is an automatic, psychological reaction rooted in deep-seated beliefs and emotional conditioning. Recognizing the existence of this internal thermostat is the first crucial step toward overcoming self-sabotage. By understanding that these limits are learned and maintained unconsciously, we open the door to reprogramming our minds and expanding our capacity for success and happiness. The path to breaking free from the upper limit problem involves both awareness and deliberate action. It requires courage to challenge long-held beliefs, willingness to face fears of change, and commitment to sustaining new patterns of growth. In the next parts, we will explore how self-sabotage disguises itself in daily life, the origins of these limiting beliefs, practical strategies to break the cycle, and how to embrace the fullness of your potential. For now, let's reflect on this essential truth. The limits you perceive are not absolute. They are boundaries built from past conditioning, not from your true capabilities or worthiness. Your inner thermostat can be reset, and with conscious effort, you can expand your life beyond the invisible ceilings that have held you back. To truly grasp the subtlety of self-sabotage, it helps to picture the mind as a thermostat, regulating the temperature of your success and happiness. This internal device is not something we consciously control. Rather, it functions beneath awareness, quietly maintaining an emotional set point that feels familiar and safe. When your life's temperature rises too high, that is, when success, joy, or love exceed this set point, the thermostat triggers a cooling mechanism. This cooling mechanism is the source of many puzzling setbacks. It might look like a sudden bout of anxiety before an important presentation, or an inexplicable argument with a loved one just when the relationship is thriving. Sometimes it appears as procrastination or distraction that emerges right as you're about to complete a key project. At other times, it could manifest as a sudden health issue or emotional crisis that interrupts your upward trajectory. None of these outcomes is accidental. Instead, they are psychological safeguards designed to keep you within your emotional comfort zone, even if that zone is restrictive, painful, or limiting. Why does your mind prefer familiarity, even if it is negative? The answer lies in the brain's fundamental wiring for survival. Our early experiences teach us what is safe and what is dangerous. The brain prefers predictability and routine because it requires less energy and reduces the risk of unknown threats. Success and happiness, when experienced beyond a certain threshold, represent unfamiliar territory. This unfamiliarity triggers unconscious fear, fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of standing out, or fear of losing control. In essence, your internal thermostat is a product of survival instincts honed during childhood. As a child, your environment dictated the rules for emotional safety. If being too happy or successful caused conflict or disapproval from caregivers or peers, your subconscious learned to limit those feelings to avoid punishment or abandonment. This explains why even highly successful adults can experience sudden setbacks or emotional blocks at peak moments. The upper limit problem is not an issue of ability or effort, but a deeply ingrained emotional pattern that acts as an invisible ceiling. Childhood programming, the source of limits. Consider the messages you received growing up. Were you told to be humble or not to brag? Did your family value modesty over ambition? Did expressing happiness or success ever provoke tension or discomfort? These subtle cues, repeated over years, become emotional programming. For example, a child who notices their parents becoming uneasy when they achieve something remarkable may internalize the belief that success causes problems, or a child praised only conditionally. Good job, but don't get too proud, might learn that joy is acceptable only within certain boundaries. This early conditioning creates a self-imposed limit on how much success, love, or joy one feels entitled to. It's a silent contract with the self to keep feelings within safe limits. As a result, when life pushes beyond this boundary, the subconscious mind reacts with self-sabotaging behaviors to bring you back down. Forms of self-sabotage. Self-sabotage takes many forms, often disguised as everyday obstacles. Here are some examples that illustrate this invisible struggle. Procrastination. Delaying important tasks or decisions when success is imminent. The delay protects you from crossing your internal limit. Conflict. Creating unnecessary arguments or tensions in relationships at moments of closeness or harmony, disrupting positive connection. Emotional crisis. Experiencing sudden bouts of anxiety, depression, or irritability without clear external cause, often right after a positive breakthrough. Physical symptoms. Developing unexplained illnesses or physical discomfort when life improves, as a way to justify withdrawing. Distraction and avoidance. Engaging in trivial activities or diversions that prevent focus on goals or progress. Undermining opportunities. Saying no to promising chances or backing out of commitments that could lead to growth. All these behaviors share one purpose: to keep your experience within the comfort zone dictated by your internal thermostat. Why recognition matters. The challenge with self-sabotage is its stealth. It rarely shouts. Instead, it whispers through self-doubt, subtle fears, and habitual patterns. Most people are unaware that they are their own biggest obstacle. They blame external circumstances or bad luck. Recognizing these patterns is essential. Once you see self-sabotage as a predictable response rather than random failure, you gain power over it. Awareness is the first step toward rewriting your internal thermostat. Expanding your capacity for success. Gay Hendricks emphasizes that the upper limit problem is not fixed. Because it originates in learned beliefs, it can be unlearned and reprogrammed. By consciously expanding your comfort zone, you allow your internal thermostat to reset at a higher level. This means accepting more love, greater success, deeper happiness, and broader well-being as your natural state, not just rare exceptions. This process requires both intellectual understanding and emotional readiness. It involves challenging the fears and limiting beliefs that keep you stuck. To To sum up this first part, self-sabotage is a common but hidden pattern where the mind limits progress by pulling. In the first part, we uncovered the subtle but powerful psychological pattern known as the upper limit problem, a self-imposed threshold that determines how much success, love, happiness, and abundance a person allows themselves to experience. This hidden thermostat is not merely a metaphor, but a deeply ingrained mental mechanism formed through childhood conditioning and reinforced by experience. Now, we move into the practical realm of this phenomenon. What makes the upper limit problem so dangerous is not only its power, but its invisibility. It doesn't manifest as a conscious choice to fail. It doesn't declare itself. It sneaks in, often disguised as logic, reason, or even responsibility. The most important thing to understand is this: self-sabotage almost never looks like self-sabotage. It presents itself as seemingly valid thoughts, behaviors, and reactions. That's what makes it so effective and so difficult to overcome. Let's take a deep dive into how self-sabotage operates in real life. You may recognize these patterns in your own experience. 1. Excessive worry. The illusion of control. One of the most common and socially acceptable forms of self-sabotage is worry. It often begins just when things are going well. You finally reach a peaceful, joyful moment, maybe after completing a major project or spending a fulfilling day with loved ones. Instead of basking in that contentment, your mind hijacks the moment. What if something bad happens now? What if I lose this? What if I don't deserve it? This type of worry is not about actual danger, it's about emotional regulation. When your internal thermostat senses that you've gone too far into joy, it activates anxiety to bring you back down to your safe baseline. Gay Hendricks recounts a personal example. After enjoying a deeply satisfying lunch with a friend, he found his mind suddenly filled with intrusive thoughts about something going wrong in his daughter's life. Not based on any real situation. The shift from joy to anxiety happened instantly. It was his inner thermostat doing its job, sabotaging joy to maintain the familiar level of emotional discomfort. Worry provides the illusion of control. It feels like being responsible or realistic, but it is often just emotional self-regulation disguised as concern. 2. Conflict after connection, the unconscious reset. Another powerful way we self-sabotage is through interpersonal conflict, especially following periods of harmony. Have you ever noticed that after an especially intimate or loving moment with a partner, friend, or family member, tension unexpectedly arises? Perhaps a disagreement over something trivial, a sarcastic comment, a passive-aggressive tone, a sudden shift in emotional energy. These reactions are not always caused by the other person. More often than not, they're driven by your own unconscious fear of closeness, vulnerability, or happiness. Harmony can feel risky when your internal set point is built on emotional instability or guardedness. Example: Maria had always longed for a loving relationship. After years of being single, she finally met someone who genuinely cared for her. They were happy. Too happy, she thought. And then, almost without realizing it, she began criticizing him for small things, started arguments over scheduling, grew cold and withdrawn. Within a few months, the relationship ended, and Maria told herself, he wasn't right for me. But deep down, she knew the truth. She had sabotaged it. Why? Because happiness felt foreign, untrustworthy, unsafe. 3. Procrastination, the fear of fulfillment. Procrastination is often misunderstood. Most people think they procrastinate because they're lazy, undisciplined, or disorganized. But what if the real reason is fear, specifically the fear of success? When you complete a goal, especially one that matters deeply, you are no longer who you were before. You've grown, you've evolved. That can be terrifying. The mind resists this expansion by creating distractions, mental fog, or an overwhelming desire to do everything but that. Case study: Jason was a talented writer with a publishing contract for his first book. With only 2 chapters left, he began avoiding his writing desk. He binge-watched TV, cleaned obsessively, spent hours on social media. His publisher grew concerned. His deadline passed. When asked why, Jason admitted, "Finishing this book feels like the end of something. I don't know what comes next. I'm scared." This is classic upper limit behavior. Completing the book would thrust Jason into a new life of visibility, accountability, and public expectation. His internal thermostat said, "This is too much," and so he stalled. 4. Physical breakdown. When the body speaks the mind. One of the more insidious disguises of self-sabotage is illness or physical breakdown that appears just when things are looking up. You land a dream job. Suddenly you get sick. You prepare for a major performance or presentation. Days before, you come down with migraines, stomach issues, or inexplicable fatigue. You're about to leave for a vacation you've been planning for months. You twist your ankle. These aren't coincidences. They're not always faked or imagined either. The body is incredibly intelligent. And when the subconscious feels threatened by success or joy, it will recruit the body to intervene. This is not to say every illness is psychosomatic, but when a pattern emerges, illness following achievement, it's worth examining. 5. Devaluation of positive experiences. A subtler, often overlooked form of self-sabotage is the mental act of discounting positive events. You win an award and say, "It wasn't a big deal." You receive a compliment and reply, "They're just being polite." You enjoy a wonderful vacation and return to say, "Back to reality now." This automatic downplaying of joy prevents your brain from integrating happiness as a normal state. It signals your inner thermostat that you shouldn't get used to feeling good, that good things are rare, unearned, or temporary. Over time, this reflex to minimize the good creates an identity rooted in not enoughness. You don't allow joy to anchor, so it always floats away. 6. Relapsing into old habits. Even after we make significant progress, emotionally, professionally, or spiritually, we sometimes find ourselves returning to behaviors we thought we had outgrown. After losing weight, a person starts binge eating again. After months of consistent meditation, someone forgets to practice for weeks. After saving a healthy amount of money, a person suddenly overspends. These behaviors are not failures of discipline. They're thermodynamic resets. The inner thermostat kicks in and says, "This is not who we are." And the mind, ever loyal to its programming, finds a way to return you to the old state. 7. Emotional numbness or detachment. Another mask of self-sabotage is emotional disengagement. When life is going well, rather than feeling happy, some people go emotionally blank. They withdraw, they become avoidant, not because something is wrong, but because things are too right. Emotional numbness is a defense mechanism. It protects the individual from the perceived danger of feeling too much, especially joy. Because if you feel it too deeply, you might lose it. So better to feel nothing at all. But this pattern becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You disconnect in order to avoid pain, and in doing so, create the very isolation you feared. 8. Diminishing self-talk and self-doubt. Finally, perhaps the most common and toxic form of daily self-sabotage is the inner voice that whispers, "You're not ready. You don't deserve this. People will find out you're a fraud. This can't last." These statements, often internalized in early childhood, become unconscious mantras. They keep you small, they keep you humble, they keep you safe, but also stagnant. Each time you believe these thoughts, you lower your thermostat. You reinforce the belief that growth, happiness, and love must be temporary. Moving forward, recognizing these daily disguises of self-sabotage is crucial for transformation. As long as the problem remains invisible, it remains unsolvable. Awareness allows you to interrupt the pattern, reframe the behavior, replace unconscious fear with conscious intention. But recognition is not the end. In the next part, we'll explore where these patterns originate, not just intellectually, but emotionally, because understanding the roots of your internal thermostat is the key to resetting it permanently. In the previous sections, we explored the nature of the upper limit problem, ULP, how it operates as a self-imposed threshold that regulates how much love, success, creativity, and happiness we allow ourselves to experience, and how it subtly sabotages our progress whenever we cross that threshold. We also saw how it manifests in daily life through worry, procrastination, conflict, and physical symptoms. But if we truly want to overcome the ULP, we must go deeper. We must understand where it comes from. The upper limit problem is not a conscious choice. No one wakes up and says, "Today I will sabotage my happiness." The ULP is rooted in emotional programming, much of which took place long before we could even name our feelings. It comes from the core of our identity, formed in childhood through thousands of small but powerful experiences. To reprogram this thermostat, we must first explore its source, the emotional, familial, and societal messages that conditioned us to believe we're not meant to have too much of a good thing. 1. Childhood conditioning, where the story begins. The foundation of the ULP is almost always laid in childhood, not necessarily through dramatic trauma, but through subtle, repeated messages, often unintentionally delivered by the people we trusted most. Here are a few common childhood experiences that contribute to the formation of the upper limit thermostat. Being punished or shamed for standing out. Receiving love only when being obedient or modest. Witnessing parental tension triggered by your joy or success. Feeling responsible for keeping the family emotionally balanced. Noticing that your needs cause distress or disappointment in others. For example, a child might receive enthusiastic applause for winning a school competition, but later sense their siblings sulking in jealousy. Or hear a parent sigh about how exhausting it is to drive them to practice every day. Over time, they learn a dangerous equation. Me succeeding, someone else hurting. So, what does the child do? They unconsciously form an inner contract. I'll hold back a little next time. I'll tone it down. I'll stay safe. This contract becomes the internal thermostat. Every time life begins to feel too good, it signals, watch out. You might get punished. You might be too much. 2. The 4 core hidden barriers. According to Gay Hendricks, most people carry one or more hidden emotional barriers that form the psychological base of the ULP. These barriers are not logical. They're not even usually conscious, but they dictate how much good we allow ourselves to experience. Barrier 1. Feeling fundamentally flawed. This barrier is rooted in the belief, something is wrong with me. I am not enough. I don't deserve love, success, or abundance. This belief often develops in childhood when affection or attention was conditional. Perhaps love was withheld when the child made mistakes, or praise was rare. Over time, the child internalizes the message. I'm not lovable just for being me. I have to earn it. And even then, I might still be rejected. When this person experiences success or love as an adult, a part of them feels like an imposter. They think, this can't last. I'll mess it up. And sure enough, they do. Not because they're flawed, but because they believe they are. Barrier 2. Disloyalty and abandoning the tribe. This barrier says, if I succeed too much, I'll be disloyal to my family or community. I might leave them behind. For example, if someone grows up in a family that struggles financially, achieving wealth may feel like betrayal. Success might threaten their sense of belonging. Even if no one says it outright, the unspoken message is, don't be too different, don't rise too far. Many people unconsciously limit their growth to maintain emotional loyalty to those they love, even if it means staying small forever. Barrier 3. Believing that success brings a bigger burden. This belief says, the more I have, the more I'll be expected to do. Success will lead to stress, responsibility, or loss of freedom. This might stem from watching a parent become overwhelmed by work, or witnessing how money brought problems rather than ease. As a result, the mind creates a defense. Don't grow too much. It's not worth it. So every time a new opportunity arises, they retreat. Not from the opportunity itself, but from the perceived weight it brings. Barrier 4. The crime of outshining. This barrier often forms in childhood among siblings or peers. It's the fear that shining too brightly will make others feel inferior, unloved, or jealous. A child who excels might hear, don't brag, or let your brother have a turn. Over time, this becomes internalized as, my light makes others uncomfortable. I should dim it. As adults, these individuals hesitate to speak up, avoid promotion, or minimize their achievements, not out of humility, but out of fear. 3. The power of emotional loyalty. These hidden barriers don't just exist in the mind, they live in the heart. That's what makes them so powerful. People will often abandon their dreams, relationships, or well-being, rather than risk betraying the emotional bonds they formed as children. This is known as emotional loyalty. For example, someone may unconsciously self-sabotage a healthy relationship because deep down, their childhood experience taught them that love is painful or chaotic. Being loved fully now would feel like a betrayal of the emotional reality they've carried for decades. This emotional loyalty creates an internal double bind. If I grow, I lose connection. If I stay small, I feel safe, but stuck. The fear of outgrowing our emotional home, the beliefs, habits, and dynamics we were raised in, is what keeps many people cycling through the same patterns year after year. 4. Inherited emotional blueprints. Emotional programming is often passed down through generations. We inherit not just genes, but attitudes towards success, love, and life. Your parents, grandparents, and caregivers all had their own emotional thermostats, shaped by their cultures, traumas, and beliefs. If your family viewed wealth with suspicion, praised struggle over ease, or downplayed joy as childish, you likely absorbed those attitudes as truth. This is not about blaming. Most families do the best they can, but if no one teaches us how to hold and sustain joy, we learn to fear it. The good news, what's inherited can be reprogrammed, but first, it must be seen. 5. The role of shame and guilt. Two of the most powerful emotional forces behind the upper limit problem are shame and guilt. Shame says, I am bad. Guilt says, I did something bad. When we cross our emotional threshold, when we begin to feel too good, shame and guilt often rush in. You're being selfish. You don't deserve this. You're leaving people behind. These messages are often silent, but deeply persuasive. They trigger the ULP's defense system, pulling us back into the emotional zone we've always known. 6. The fear of being seen. Paradoxically, many people fear being seen even more than being invisible. Why? Because being seen, truly seen, means being vulnerable. It means showing your greatness, your potential, your power. And what if you fail, or succeed and can't sustain it? What if people judge you, envy you, abandon you? This fear is not irrational. It is the mind protecting itself from emotional exposure, but it's also the biggest lock on the door to expansion. 7. The zone of excellence versus the zone of genius. Hendricks draws a distinction between living in your zone of excellence, where you are highly competent and respected, and your zone of genius, where you are expressing your full, authentic, creative self. Many people stay in the zone of excellence because it's safe, admired, and well rewarded, but their true fulfillment and their greatest fear lies in stepping into the zone of genius. Why is this step so hard? Because it challenges every internal agreement made during childhood. Don't shine too brightly. Stay humble. Be careful. Don't want too much. To live in the zone of genius requires breaking those agreements. And that often feels like betraying your inner child, your family, or your identity. 8. Reclaiming the emotional narrative. To heal the emotional roots of the upper limit problem, you must first recognize that your current limits were learned. They are not the truth of who you are. They are inherited patterns, designed to protect you, but no longer serve you. You are not a flawed person. You are not selfish for wanting more. You are not disloyal for growing. You are not dangerous for shining. You are someone who learned to survive, and now must learn to thrive. This transformation is not about ego. It's about responsibility. Responsibility for living as your full self, so you can inspire others to do the same. Introduction. The challenge of staying expanded. Breaking through the upper limit. Problem is an extraordinary milestone. Recognizing your self-sabotaging patterns, uncovering their emotional roots, and committing to your zone of genius requires courage, insight, and resilience. But crossing the line isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a new life, where your baseline of success, joy, and authenticity must be sustained, not just visited. Most people don't fail because they never try. They fail because they can't hold on to their success once they've reached it. This final part is about what happens after the big leap. How do you stay there? How do you make peace with lasting happiness when every cell in your body has been trained for survival, not expansion? According to Gay Hendricks, the moment you exceed your inner thermostat setting, you are immediately challenged by a new question. Can you allow yourself to stay there without falling back? Section 1. Sustaining the leap. Building a new normal success isn't a destination, it's a state of being. It requires a new emotional baseline to match your external reality. Think of it this way. If you've always lived in winter, your body is conditioned to the cold. Suddenly finding yourself in a warm climate might feel wonderful at first, but eventually, you'll start sweating, overheating, feeling out of place. Your instinct will be to cool down, even if that means turning on your own internal freezer and sabotaging what was good. The same thing happens with joy, love, money, and peace. To live in your zone of genius permanently, you must recondition your nervous system to accept goodness as safe, as familiar, as normal. This doesn't happen overnight. It requires a methodical shift in mindset, habits, self-image, and emotional regulation. 1.1. Emotional safety is priority. You cannot grow beyond the point at which your nervous system feels safe. That's why one of the most important post-sleep disciplines is developing emotional resilience. You must learn how to calm your body in the face of success. Your old programming may interpret peace as boredom, success as pressure, joy as danger. When those feelings arise, pause and breathe. Name the sensation. This is my upper limit discomfort. This means I'm growing. Then, instead of retreating into familiar sabotage patterns, stay with the feeling. Let it pass through you. Over time, your emotional system will learn. It's safe to feel this good. Section 2. Emotional hygiene. Maintaining a clear inner space. Most people maintain their physical hygiene daily, showering, brushing teeth, cleaning their environment. But few understand the importance of emotional hygiene, the daily practice of clearing fear, resentment, self-judgment, and limiting beliefs that accumulate as residue from old patterns. 2.1. Daily clearing rituals. One of the simplest yet most effective practices is the clearing statement. Every day, write down what you're afraid of, what limiting beliefs are coming up, what you're secretly ashamed of. Then say, I see you, I feel you, I thank you, and I now release you. This makes unconscious fears conscious, and conscious emotions lose their grip. 2.2. The power of radical self-honesty. To maintain your expansion, you must live in alignment with truth, not just externally, but internally. That means being radically honest about what you really want, what you're afraid of, where you still feel small, what habits are holding you back. Self-deception is a form of sabotage. Honesty is liberation. Section 3. Practical integration, habits of expansion. Once you've made the leap, discipline becomes your anchor. Not discipline as punishment, but as the structure that supports freedom. Gay Hendricks emphasizes that to remain in your zone of genius, you must build daily practices that match your new identity. Here are key strategies to help you integrate that new self. 3.1. Morning expansion practice. Start your day with intention. Here's a 5-minute routine. Breathe deeply. And 1 min. Inhale expansion. Exhale resistance. Repeat your expansion mantra. 1 min. I expand in abundance, success, and love every day. Visualize your zone of genius life. 2 min. Feel it like it's already here. Set your genius intention for the day. 1 min. Today, I commit to operating from my higher self by. This anchors your nervous system in possibility before the day begins. 3.2. The Genius Journal. Every evening, write down how you acted from your zone of genius, where you caught yourself in upper limit behaviors, what you learned about your patterns. One celebration, no matter how small, journaling makes the unconscious visible. Awareness builds momentum. 3.3. The 3-minute rule. Whenever you feel like avoiding something, a task, a conversation, a truth, tell yourself, just do 3 minutes. Often, resistance vanishes once action begins. This rewires your brain to associate forward motion with ease rather than fear. Section 4. Social expansion. Who you surround yourself with. One of the most underestimated causes of regression after a breakthrough is relational misalignment. When you begin to live in your zone of genius, it inevitably disrupts the comfort zones of people still living in their own upper limit problems. 4.1. Normalize success. Around you. Your nervous system calibrates to the people you spend the most time with. If everyone around you is still struggling with self-worth, you'll unconsciously downplay your growth to stay connected. This doesn't mean abandoning people. It means consciously choosing communities that normalize expansion. Find people who celebrate your joy without resentment, support your breakthroughs instead of doubting them. Reflect the person you're becoming. 4.2. Releasing guilt for outgrowing. Your old identity growth often feels like betrayal, especially if you come from environments where shining too brightly caused shame or rejection. Let this be clear. Your expansion does not diminish others. Shrinking helps no one, but your growth invites others to expand too. You become a lighthouse. Section 5. Becoming your new self. The identity shift. All lasting transformation is identity-based. Your old self was built to survive within a certain emotional boundary. To stay in your new life, you must become someone who expects joy, who trusts abundance, who embodies genius without apology. 5.1. Adopt a new self-narrative. Start telling yourself a new story. I am a person who thrives in success. I allow love, wealth, and ease to flow. It's safe for me to outgrow who I used to be. Language becomes belief. Belief becomes identity. Identity shapes action. Action creates reality. 5.2. Handle regression. Without panic. Growth isn't linear. There will be days where old patterns sneak in. What matters isn't perfection, but awareness. When you notice regression, acknowledge it. Don't shame yourself. Ask, what part of me felt unsafe in growth today? Recommit gently. Self-compassion is the bridge back to your expansion. Conclusion. The long-term leap. To live beyond your upper limit is to walk a path most people never dare to begin. It's the journey of becoming someone who is no longer afraid of their own greatness. You're no longer surviving, you're choosing to thrive. Gay Hendricks leaves us with this challenge. Are you willing to take the big leap to your ultimate level of success in love, money, and creative contribution? If your answer is yes, then your job is no longer just to dream or to break through once. It's to sustain, to make happiness your new normal, to breathe ease into success, to allow joy not just as a moment, but as a way of life.